Not long ago, we put game overs under the microscope and found, to our shock and surprise, that some of them were more fun than actually winning the game. I know, crazy, right? But then it got even crazier because you lot piled into the comments with a whole boatload more examples of times that failing a game actually produced empirically more entertainment than doing things properly. Why play by the rules when defeat is as sweet as these rad game overs? Here are your suggestions of game overs preferable to doing things right. Along the way, beware spoilers for the following.
Sometimes the game over screen isn't the best thing about a game over, but the way in which that game over came about. One game that does this well was pointed out by commenter Hoxdelicious, who said, Nier Automata has enough fun game overs to fill this list by itself. And it really does. This wonderfully weird title really likes to have fun with the fact that our protagonists are androids, such as in the game over pointed out by Brian Jones, who said, remove your own CPU from the inventory screen. Yep, they let you do that. Nier Automata built upon the idea of playing as robotic humans by having 2B's abilities be inserted as computer chips. With a limited amount of space, limiting the number of chips you could use at any one time, this meant you had to swap them in and out. However, make the grave mistake of removing 2B's central processing unit, thereby switching her off entirely, and you would trigger a game over. I guess that answers the question of 2B or not 2B. Boo. What? It's Shakespeare, it's classic. Boo. One other weird way to screw up 2B's wiring was to eat the wrong food. As commenter Cuck pointed out, I laughed my ass off when I died from eating fish and the credits rolled. Yep, should you eat a mackerel, either caught with your fishing abilities or given to you by the aptly named Jackass, that would be an immediate endgame point. Why'd we eat deadly fish? Just for the halibut. Boo!
The Katamari series has a tradition of novelty game overs, which is why it gets the nod from commenter CubeRG, or is that Cuberg, who says, guessing Katamari. You guess right. The game over from We Love Katamari, in which failing in your mission to roll everything up into a heterogeneous ball of junk leads to this outcome, is the one that stuck with us the most. Do you get it? Stuck with us? Because it's a big, sticky ball of... what? Too smart for the room? Anyway, the We Love Katamari game over is the one where you, as the prince, are trapped in a dark nothingness, while the king of all cosmos pelts you with lasers from his eyes and tells you what a letdown you are. Oh, real original Katamari, a hellish void where my giant father shoots lasers and says how disappointed he is in me. I had that exact nightmare just last week. I suppose next you'll have a game over where I've got a geography test, but I haven't studied. But I'm naked and all my teeth fall out. Hacks.
Mario always does the right thing and always wins, which is good because, I mean, what would it say about us if we wanted him just once to maybe fall flat on his stupid face? But one game lets you live the dream of just once seeing Mario do a wholeheartedly terrible thing, as commenter James Williams is well aware. saying no in Super Paper Mario. You can let the world be destroyed and not give a care, or die in space because you don't want to put a fishbowl on your head. Either one is hilarious in my opinion. Let's begin with that whole destroyed world business. See, at the opening of the game, Mario and Luigi learn to what is their surely pretend surprise by now, that Princess Peach has been, you guessed it, kidnapped. It turns out the culprit is the villainous Count Bleck, who is trying to marry Peach and Bowser to create a dimensional void, part of an evil prophecy foretold in something called the Dark Prognosticus, which is what my doctor gave me when I told him how many bags of popping candy I'm eating every day. Anyway, never fear, because wouldn't you know it, old golden boy Mario perfectly fits another prophecy, the Light Prognosticus, as explained by cheerful wizard Merlin and his pal Pixel, the electric butterfly. Now, Merlin, bless him, has probably heard about Mario's rep for making things right, and as such fully expects our mustachioed protagonist to answer "I will" when asked to save the world. But you know what? Maybe just this once Mario's not in the mood. Sorry Merlin, not this time, I'm gonna catch up on my reading. Geez, Merlin, take the hint. Tell Merlin no enough times, and guess what happens? Oh my god! It was Daisy driving the car! Sorry Merlin, what were you saying? Ending the world isn't the only way to brilliantly game over in Paper Mario, as James Williams noted. Later on, Bowser finds himself in the vast emptiness of space with no air supply, and if you keep insisting you don't want a life-saving helmet, you can end the game early by, well, dying in space, I guess? Oh, Bowser, just like Sandra Bullock in Gravity.
That's not what happens in that movie.
I salute my fallen enemy!
Why do we love stories set in the Batman universe? Is it because Batman is dark and moody, or is it because of the fun surrealness of his many antagonists?
The antagonists, woo!
Yeah, well, that's a rhetorical question, but yeah, clearly the second one. The Arkham series also knew this, which is why it features nearly every baddie they could get their mitts on. And they decided to do something special with all the ones most likely to give Batman a very hard time. As pointed out by Federico Aguirre, who said, "Not even a mention to the Batman Arkham saga." See, because Batman was squaring up to so many people, there were plenty of bad folks who were only too happy to end his career sooner than planned, and each one was given multiple game over screens.
This is hardly a surprise. I always knew I was better than you.
You're alright, Riddler, no need to rub it in. Yep, you got your face rubbed in it by all the best, including the Joker.
Oh, isn't that cute? Little bats are sleeping. Someone finish him off.
Poison Ivy,
Sorry, love. You're plucked.
the Penguin,
Oh, don't be so sad, Batman. Gotham's in good hands now. I'll take real good care of it.
and a wish for approval from Harley Quinn.
I did it, Mr. J. I did it for you.
Look, Harley, if you're gonna murder the Dark Knight, don't do it for a man, do it for you. There were so many of these unique endings, it's tempting to die over and over again in the game on purpose, just to hear what the bad guys had to say.
And the judgment is death.
At least that's our excuse.
You're late, Batman. Late, late, late.
Easy right. Easy left. Easy right.
Arcade games are designed to gobble up your coins, so you can expect to see a game over every minute and a half or so. but few do it with quite as much drama and verve as Sega's classic off-road racing game Sega Rally, where the timer is always inexorably counting down to a game over screen.
Easy left.
Commenter and vastly more inconspicuous super spy than James Bond, James Bland, sums it up neatly. Sega Rally. Game over, yeah! Mic drop. Yes, Sega Rally features the most enthusiastic announcement that your game is over in the history of video games. You know, it's almost like he's celebrating our misfortune, like reveling in it. Rally drivers have feelings too, you know. Still, at least he brings the same enthusiasm to correctly identifying the most successful nationality in the history of the sport of rallying.
Finish!
That's finish with 2 N's.
Rally drivers have feelings too.
At first glance, Sans from Undertale seems like a pretty harmless guy. He's always making skeleton puns, playing the trombone, and greets you with a whoopee cushion in his hand, which, to be fair, is a classic bit. Nice one, Sans. If you choose to do a genocide run of Undertale, however, in which you set out to kill all of the characters you come up against, you'll find he's a bit more formidable than you initially thought, as commenter the gosh darn Batman writes. Sorry, game over's more fun than the ending you were gonna get? 3 words. Get dunked on! If you do decide to take the kill everyone route in Undertale, your final fight in the game has you facing Sans in the most difficult battle the game has to offer, with Sans battering you with bones, beam attacks, and floating skulls. Fight him for long enough and Sans will offer you mercy. Since by this point you're pretty much committed to your genocide run, having killed everyone else in the game, you're unlikely to have a change of heart. But if you do accept, however, Sans tells you how pleased he is before totally annihilating you with bones. To add insult to fatal injury, Sans then informs you that you just got dunked on. I mean, hard to argue with that, to be fair.
You know what's wrong with most video game endings? No wildly flailing limbs. For instance, consider one of the possible final cutscenes in Grand Theft Auto 5, which sees our 3 protagonists deciding to part ways amicably, bathed in a sunset glow and with not a single limb waving off in an unlikely direction.
Ooh, hypocrisy, Franklin. Civilization's greatest virtue. Jesus, your therapist has a lot to answer for.
Boring. Commenter Caitlin RC knows there's a much better way. I honestly have a love for the GTA wasted screen when you die because I always end up ragdolling in some hilarious way. Also, you guys are awesome, stay awesome. Not? Well, shucks, Caitlin, we'll try. And perhaps we can begin by professing our shared love of Grand Theft Auto's long-running game over, which crowns every violent demise with the word wasted, a phrase that describes both your character and, frankly, their potential. Trevor, you would have made such a fine pilot if you just stuck with that business studies course. It's not like old Trev isn't giving anything back though, enriching society in the same way that all his fellow GTA protagonists do with entertaining ragdoll deaths. I mean, why settle for limbs arranged in the standard human fashion when you can have this? See, if only flailing madly was a job, Trevor would be properly in the money. It is a viable career. You'll see when you read my self-published business guide, Fail to Prepare, Prepare to Flail. Available as soon as I remember my Kickstarter login.
Good day for a swell battle. Now go!
Almost anything is worth enduring if there's a solid pun in the offing, as commenter Christy Schneider knows is true of one game in particular, saying, "Where's Cuphead?" Well, Christy, I don't know if you count this as a valid excuse, but Cuphead wasn't out yet when we published that first video. Now that this ultra-tough cartoonish shoot-'em-up is in our lives, however, we fully appreciate the greatness of a Cuphead game over. To see why failing Cuphead is so much fun, you need to understand that the game itself is as tough as a fossil hammer. Although, to be fair, just as lovingly designed. I mean, feel that balance. That's craftsmanship. Indeed, fighting your way through Cuphead's Hail of Bullets gameplay is a proper ordeal, one that's interspersed with boss fights so outlandishly difficult that you'd need the reflexes of a ninja and the patience of a monk to figure out the proper way through them. As a result of that difficulty, you're going to be dying a lot. Happily though, death at the hands of one of these gargantuan bosses comes complete with a cheery poem of all things, to ease the pain. Fitting, isn't it? I'm a blimp, you're a wimp. Hey, that rhymes! You lost too soon and I was only half moon. Huh, nice! Why'd the clown drive over the cup? He wanted to crack him up. That's great. And since I'm not playing anymore, my thumb cartilage no longer feels like it's about to disintegrate. One more. Hey, little guy. It's okay if you have to cry. It's a really hard game.
No, I won't. So, those were the game overs, more fun than actually winning the game, and all your lovely suggestions. Thank you so much for those. And may we give you a suggestion in the meantime as well, is that you should go and watch these videos. That's an excellent suggestion from us. And also to click that subscribe orb, the magical orb of subscriptionness, and you'll get lots of amazing game over screens called our videos. That works, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.